Let's tell you how much tunnel vision I have when I work. So I was working at Angie's Barbecue one time, and it was just like this big barbecue at this big restaurant, and I was taking pictures for DJ Enough. This was like my first year working there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see a group of women taking pictures together. I'm like, oh, that'd be a dope picture. Let me walk over. I'm like, hey, can I take a picture real quick? They're like, sure. Which publication are you with? I'm like, I'm with DJ Enough. They're like, oh, okay, Enough, that's cool. So I take the picture, and then I walk off, and they're like, wait, can we see the picture? I'm like, yeah, sure. I I go back to the picture to show them the picture. Why is it Gabrielle Union, Sanaya Lathan, and this one more person? But like Sanaa Lathan is one of my I used to be my wife. Like I used to call her my wife all the time. I had so much tunnel vision. I didn't realize I took a picture of these women and their friends until like I'm showing the picture and they're over my shoulder at this point. And that's why I'm looking at the picture with them and my mouth just dropped open like. I look to my left is Gabrielle Union. Look to my right is Sanaa Lathan. And I'm like,
you'd be surprised sometimes when you get on social media and you connect with people who you can consider a true friend and a brother or sister, right? Especially in wrestling Twitter. It can be a very toxic place if you're not careful, because even though it's a niche product and in some cases a lot of us who are wrestling fans was made fun of for loving it, we still have a lot of internal discretion. Well, on today's episode, I bring on somebody who I admire for all his hard work, his dedication. And while our wrestling takes do not always equal each other, right? We have found a great bond in this business. And a lot of times we have respectful conversations. Y'all wouldn't know about all the disagreements because it's not public. We don't make it toxic. But I really appreciate his hard work, his dedication to his craft, and most importantly, his dedication to his family. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm welcome on the one and only Blue Magic. Blue Magic from the Mixed Tag Show. And you're going to hear how he got there and some of the cool stuff that he's done, especially in the music world. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Blue Magic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on the line today, I have a good friend, a good brother of mine. We really recently got connected via the pandemic through social media. And he was somebody who I've been a fan of and watching his shows. Actually, we also been watching his, he used to do the show on Instagram. He had my bloodline, Britt Waters, on here, who's been on a previous episode. And today I welcome him on Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. He's also been on Break It Down with Brian H. But today we're going to talk more than wrestling, and that is the one and only, we call him Blue Magic. Blue, what's up, bro?
what's going on, brother? What's going on? How you?
I'm good, man. How's everything?
Everything is everything, man. You know, trying to survive this pandemic out here.
How have you been able, you know, just like me, you're a family man, a great one too.
Right.
You know, give you your flowers.
Thank you.
Publicly. You know, I know how much you love your family and you put God and your family first, and that's something that I can appreciate. And, you know, so it's important that as Black men, we uplift each other. How have you been able to kind of keep everything together during this pandemic and, you know, kind of protect your mentals?
It's a lot. It's a hard bite because not like, for instance, like last year during the beginning of the pandemic, my wife was actually pregnant with our youngest. So, you know, it was a lot of like mental, like trying to like figure out how we're gonna do this, make sure everybody's safe. It was a lot of praying. And it was a lot of social distancing. Just be honest with you. We made sure we turned down everything. Like, it's not hard for us because we're actually like homebodies to begin with. I don't really like going nowhere. My wife don't really like going anywhere. So any invite we got, we were just like, nope, we're good. And we found fun things to do around the house to keep things fun, you know, like we had like date nights. We did like karaoke nights with the family, and, you know, so on and so forth, just to keep it, you know, light. And, you know, with technology, it made things a whole lot easier to connect with family that we missed.
Did you have a lot of Zoom parties?
Yeah, we did. That's what we did the karaoke through. Like, had a karaoke birthday party, and, you know, had family night, and, you know, it was just a lot.
Did you have the house party app? Because that was something that we used a lot in the beginning, and then it was like as soon as outside showed a hint of opening, right? It went away. But we was using House Party to like play games and stuff. Did you have that app?
Yeah, yeah. We played a couple of games on House Party as well. My homegirl Madia put us up on House Party. It was another game on Xbox too called was it Party Box or something like that? And it's like a whole bunch of different games in there that you can play like with other people and stuff like that. We played that before the pandemic, actually. So during the pandemic, we just put it on Twitch or whatever, so we could play with friends and stuff. But yeah, definitely, like we playing different games virtually was another aspect of it as well.
Oh, okay. So you an Xbox guy?
Yeah, Xbox. Yep. I haven't had a PlayStation since middle school. I think PlayStation 1 was the last PlayStation I had.
Oh, what? Wait, then, you didn't even have the 2?
Nah, actually, I think I had like the 3 in college.
Okay.
And I didn't really play that. Like I was out every day, so I just sold it. I'm like, you know what? I'm not even playing this. It's just sitting here collecting dust. I'm gonna use this to go spend a weekend partying. Like,
oh man,
I just sold my PS3. Like yeah, I'm to use the money. I sold it to GameStop, so you don't even get that much. So,
oh yeah, you could have sold it to somebody.
I just took the money.
eBay.
Was like, yeah, I just wanted the money right then and there. I was like, no, I'm gonna take this money and go party for this weekend. I was still in college. I'm like, yep, let me go have fun. Like, I'm not even playing this damn game. Let me go ahead.
Oh man. Yeah, I used to have an Xbox, but then MLB The Show came out. And before they, this year, I believe is the first year I went to Xbox, but in 20
yeah, I actually play it on Xbox. I play it. I like it.
Yeah, it was the reason. So I had PlayStation 2, Xbox, then I had Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, and I actually got the Xbox One first on day one edition, as a matter of fact. But when when PlayStation came out, when MLB The Show came out and Xbox wasn't getting a baseball game, that's when I had to trade it in.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah, but
the funny thing is, when I got my PlayStation, I went to go visit some family down in Miami, like when I was younger, and I had like a Genesis. Okay, I had a Genesis, and then I bought my Genesis with me, and I bought out there. My cousins didn't have any, so they're like playing it. We all played for the entire summer, and I'm like getting ready to go home. Like, all right, I'm about to start packing this up, and they asked my dad, "Can they keep it?" And my dad was like, "Yeah." So they kept my Genesis. And my dad was like, I'm just gonna get you another one. I'm like, and I came back, there was no Genesis here.
Wow.
So I had to wait till like Christmas. So from August to Christmas, I had no video games to play.
Oh man.
and then that Christmas is when PlayStation came out and he got me a PlayStation to make up for it. But boy, when I was upset, like really just give away my Genesis. Like
yeah, how they just gonna ask for it though?
Yeah. They were older, so they used it. You go, hey, let me get that. Can we keep the Genesis? I'm like, I'm really gonna ask this man though. Like, you gotta say yes. Like,
oh man. Yeah. Did you ever get something from them later?
No, they also stole my freaking Love and Basketball when they came up for my high school graduation. They're like, I need this for the car because they had the DVD player because they drove from Florida.
Yeah,
in a van, and they had the DVD player inside. They're like, let me borrow this for the car, and they took my damn Love and Basketball.
Oh man, they had that. They probably had that piece that allowed you to watch it while you're driving.
Yeah. It was like in the back, like for the people in the back.
Oh, in the back. Okay.
Yeah, the drop the top thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to.
I was very upset about that.
Incriminate myself. But technically I ain't do it. But for Christmas in 2011, my sister bought me a DVD player for my car. And with that, the guy, when I was working at Best Buy at the time, and the installer said, I said, hey man, can I pay you to hook this up? He said, yeah, I got you. So he hooked it up because I didn't want to pay the company. I was like, I can just give him the money, put in his pocket.
Right.
And so he hooked it up, and then he said, hey man, I put the bypass on for you so you can watch DVDs while you're driving. So when I was working at ESPN, I would drive home and I would like play WrestleMania 18 because I had 2 copies of the DVD. Yeah, I had 2 copies of the DVD. And then, the police come. It was a button that you could hit to make the screen go black and just hear the audio. So I would just press the button.
Nah, so here's the thing, right? So
Mhm.
also in college, I did a lot of crazy things in college. So in
What school
college, I had
you
this
go to?
Honda Accord. I went to Bloomfield College.
Okay. And
Yeah, I
where's that
became the
at?
Sigma, everything over there. It's in Jersey. It's
Oh,
like up
okay.
North Jersey. Yeah, I joined a frat, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Did the whole college experience. Um,
Hmm. My uncle will
but yeah,
be happy to hear that. He's a Sigma from Delaware State.
really,
Uh-huh.
really, I got some. Yeah, I got some. I probably seen them because I did. I went to Delaware State a few times. Had some good
You,
bros over there.
you know Wayne
Um,
Charles?
no, I don't. I probably forgot their names. I'm gonna keep it
Oh,
100 with
okay.
you. Like this, like homecomings. Like yeah, we go on road trip to homecoming. We just gonna stay with whoever. Like those type
Oh,
of yes.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't
that's
know.
tight. Yeah, because he's a
It's
Sigma
fun.
and what's it? Forgive me. The what is it? The man, what's the ladies? What's the ladies?
Zetas,
Zetas. Yeah, my
Zetas.
first lady at the church. She's a Zeta.
See,
So
you got
you
a lot
know,
of good blue people in your life.
yeah, and you know, it's my uncle by marriage, but you know, he which is so church things, right? He was
Right,
my sister's god brother from like day one because his late mother, took my sister as her godmother, took
right,
as her goddaughter. So he's
right.
always deacon in the church, and when he got divorced, later on, he asked my mother about my aunt. And my mother introduced her to, and then they ended up getting married in 2007.
That's dope. That's dope.
So it's pretty cool. So yeah, I got blue people. Y'all some good people though, I have to say. Uh,
Thank you, thank you.
but yeah, so what you was about to say? My bad for
Oh,
interrupting.
well, you're good. You good. So in college, I had this Honda Accord, and I put like butterfly doors on there. Like again, I'm a college kid. I'm trying to flash my car out. I had the tinted windows. So what I
Mm-hmm.
did was I put the radio slash DVD player in my car. My DVD player actually like popped out and folded up. So when you done with it, it popped back in, like it hit itself. Um, so yeah, I know that I used to do a lot of road trips and put some DVDs in, and I was actually dating a girl that was like an hour away from me. So when all those hour drives, I'll be watching a movie most of the ride.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah, not safe at all.
Nah, but and here we thought we was doing something. But I mean,
Right.
I didn't look at the DVDs. Most I never put nothing like I would put. My sister bought me I think did she buy? Oh no, I started collecting the Martin series, right? And that
Okay.
was just for lunchtime, really. Shout out to my friend Sharice because we was both working at Best Buy together. So we would go to Burger King or down the street or somewhere, get some food and sit in the car and watch Martin during our lunch break. So that was the
Right.
whole
Right.
point, having that DVD player allowed you to do stuff like that, But
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
driving, it was basically just background noise. Like I wasn't gonna be sitting there driving, like, oh man, I gotta see this.
Right. Yeah, for the most part, you can't really watch too much. You like I literally did like a 5 and 2, like 5 seconds in a row, 2 seconds at the DVD player. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like you can't stare at it for a long time.
Exactly. So what did you major in?
The crazy thing is, I majored in criminal justice sociology.
Okay.
I wanted to be I was gonna do
That's
it
why you
because
like to argue.
I don't even like arguing though. Like that's just annoying to me. Like
I
I mean,
know.
I like to have discussions, but I don't like arguing. But definitely yeah, I come from a Haitian family, so you're
Okay.
either gonna be you're gonna be a doctor, a lawyer, or a nurse. Like that's your choices of career. So I'm a lawyer. I wanted to become a lawyer, and as I went through the college years, I did 3 years at Bloomfield College. That college did some crazy things with me. Like for instance, I had two finals on the same day, three finals at the same day at the same time.
Wow.
And then when I told one teacher, she allowed me to reschedule, but the other two said no.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had to go take my mythology final exam, rush that, so then I could hurry up and run to my math final. So then I didn't finish the math final because I didn't have enough time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, they put me on like probation and stuff like that. Well, I was already on probation, but they tried to like suspend me for a year and told me to come back. But after that, I was just like, y'all don't care about me. I just want my money. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like that. There was no reason why that should have happened. whatsoever. That was like, yeah. But from there, I was like, all right, time to find another career.
Did you so let me ask you this if you don't mind me asking, right? Because I've heard people who come from Haitian families say the same thing. And some people, I don't want to use this term, but I can't remember which country in the
Caribbeans.
continent. No, I was to say which country in the continent of Africa. But I remember a couple of people like Nigerians mainly say stuff like, you had to study being a doctor or lawyer, etc. Is
Yeah,
it still that way?
yeah. If you notice, I don't know if there's a lot of Haitian people in your area, but in my area, if you go to the hospitals, a lot of the nurses are from the Caribbean because the Caribbeans does have that kind of standard where it's gonna be either gonna be a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
a lawyer, or a nurse. Like that's where the money's at. So that's where you're gonna be at. Like, that's their thing. They don't really care for the entertainment side or anything that you're passionate really about. It's very few. And when you
Right.
do find those, you gotta applaud those parents for letting their kids be what they want to be, and be supportive.
Will
Because
our generation be the same way? That's what I mean.
no, I don't
Okay.
think so. Like for me, like I said, for me, I don't think I'm gonna force my kids to go to college. Like college to me is like one of the biggest scams in America. Like, and that's just being 100 with you. Like, there's so many things they didn't tell you and teach you
Mm-hmm.
in high school that I teach my nieces. Like, I tell my niece all the time. Like, she just went back. She just started college, and before she started, I told her like, first of all, go to a 2-year college to make sure that you get at least your associate's degree. After the
Right.
2 years, then go to a 4-year college to finish off the other 2 years and get your bachelor's degree. Because if you go straight to a 4-year, you won't get that 2-year associate's degree if you don't finish, which was what happened with me. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So like, there's certain things like that they don't break down to you when you go to high school. Well, in my area, certain high schools are different depending on the area. But if you go to schools that people that look like you, yeah, they're not telling you that. So
But you know
yeah,
what
that's
though?
why
I'm glad you brought
I
that
like
up because I'm a firm witness to that. And
right.
I went to Baltimore City College High School, right? And it's a prestigious high school here in Baltimore. It's one of them schools like they prepare you for college. 97% of the class that graduate usually go to college. Don't mean they all finish, right? But one of the things
Right.
that was kind of frowned upon if you said you was going to community college. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
I remember thinking at that time, I was going to go to Morgan, I think when I graduated, but I ended up doing a community college and then, took a break and went to school. But it's something that I scream loud for as well, no matter what high school you went to, because those two, well, and I ended up doing 3 years because I went part-time a couple of semesters, but
Right.
you like you brought up, you come out with a degree. So even when I took the break, I still had a degree. If I never went back to school, I would have had just an associate's degree. But you
Right.
have that, and it's cheaper, and you're gonna take the same classes.
Yep. Exactly. It doesn't like it's just a name thing. Like the main part is if you're I never understood like why does it matter where you graduated from if all the schools are supposed to be the same. You know what I mean? Like if y'all all
Mm-hmm.
supposed to learn the same things, then why does it matter if I went to Howard or if I went to Essex County College, which is right by me? You know what I'm saying? Like you're getting the same knowledge essentially, right? Maybe I couldn't afford that high paying school. So what does that hinder me from job opportunities? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
and that's why I said like with my kids, I'm not gonna force the money's gonna be there. Like I already started saving for my kids. If they want to go to college, I'm gonna tell them to follow whatever they want to do to learn to get ahead. Because people like it matters to corporate world that you have that paper. But if they
Mm-hmm.
say they want to start a business or they want to go into this trade or whatever, I'm not gonna frown upon them because I feel like that whole industry is just like built to make people fail,
Mm-hmm.
especially people that look like me and you. So I'm not big on it.
No, but it's one of those things that they also have more access nowadays, right? To kind of learn what they want to
Yeah,
do. We always joke, but the University of YouTube. Um, like I went to
yeah,
school for video production, right? But when I picked up at that time, the DSLR was becoming the thing to use for video, and so naturally, having that DSLR camera, I could take great photos. So I went on YouTube to learn how to edit photos. I didn't learn that in the classroom. So, you know, these kids can learn so much stuff just on YouTube alone. And like you said, I think that's a great
Yeah,
mindset that you have.
yeah, definitely. I think it's also because of the life that I live. Like a lot of just to do a quick synopsis of my life is basically like since I was like 5, I've been into music,
Mm-hmm.
like playing drums at the church at 5 years old, and that was just me, like from 4 years old, sitting there watching them play and catching on, like, oh, so that's how
Nice.
that goes, and then practicing after church is over to the point where I was like one of the best drummers in the Haitian community, like you know what I'm saying, like, and that just from watching, and from there I learned that I had a gift because then from there I learned how to play piano by ear, and then I learned when I went to like grade school I started playing like alto sax, tenor sax, and so I have all this under my belt, and it came to a point where teachers used to tell, and join the choir and stuff. Came to a point where teachers would tell my parents like, your kids, it's special, like, you might want to put them into a magnet program, which they eventually did, and I actually got myself kicked out on purpose because I wanted to be with my friends. But it was just from all of that, right? And then when I went to
Mm-hmm.
high school, I went to a what is that called? A trade school, basically, for high school, where you picked a major, and we had a block schedule, whatever. And the major I picked was music production
Okay.
because that's what I was passionate about. Even though my parents told me no, I should take electricity or something like that to get a good, you know what I'm saying? I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, no, no, no. This is high school. I just want to pick this. Whatever in college you want to pick, because you got to pay for it, fine. But from there, that's why I learned most of my editing skills and like running a classroom and just management in general. I learned from that. So yeah, like, and then from there, that's what I learned. You know, going to Hot 97, I taught myself. I watched and taught myself at the same time how to edit videos and audio, and it
Now,
just
when,
came
when
so natural for me.
see, you got a lot to touch on there.
Yeah,
Uh, so
yeah,
before we get into the 97 stuff, because I got music questions. So you said you played drums in church. Um
yeah.
did your parents buy you a drum set early, or you just played at church?
They didn't bomb. I got my first drum set at like 10.
Okay.
And it was like a beginner drum set. By that time I was way past the beginner. So that drum set didn't really like I had fun on it, don't get me wrong. And I appreciate my parents got me it. But it was just like it was a beginner drum set. So I was like, all right, this is cool to, for now, but like I can't wait to go back to church to play on the real drum. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that. So yeah, they definitely encouraged me on that aspect, and then got me a drum. And because again, my mom's into church, right? Your
Mm.
parents get you into that kind of world. So when she saw that, it was something, it enticed me to go to church. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
I bet I'm gonna invest in that. You know what I'm saying? Because it benefited her in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
she like, and then with the pastors and all the other churches in the community, like, yo, like he's very good. She, it kind of added on to it.
Do you now? Did that make you kind of want to stay in the church?
And the drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was something that was more than me just sitting there and listen to sermons every Sunday. You know what I mean? Like it was something fun to do, and I was kind of like a local celebrity. So I'm like, yeah, this is fun. I like this. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely it was more enticing for me to go.
Yeah. And then, like, did it like help carry on? So, like, I always said, for me, I played drums. Um, what they say, straddling the fence, right? Um,
All right.
when I was younger, yeah, I was on the drums, but I was also looking every time there was visitors and or any new girls
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
I would learn the songs to learn how to play them.
Right.
Eventually, all that stuff started sticking, right? And I was
Right. Right.
really like, one day, so in 2015, I went through and read the whole Bible, right? And a part of that, I learned a lot. Like I was hearing a lot, I was reading a lot of scriptures, but it was like, oh, this is where they get that song from, and this is how.
Right.
So that's what I mean. Did eventually like you playing drums help, kind of keep you in church, but also keep your faith and keep you on the right path?
No.
Okay.
It didn't. I was not in the best path. I ain't gonna hold you. As a kid, I was not there. I just love playing the drums. I love the attention. Like you said, I love to look. I like
Mm-hmm.
getting looked at. And then
Oh,
so it felt
certainly.
like but then after most churches, after a while, it started bringing in jealousy. So then that kind of pushed me away from the church. You know what I'm saying? Like having parents jealous of a kid and putting lies on a kid kind of pushed me away.
Yeah.
So for a very long time, I just, as soon as I hit 18, I was like, all right, I'm not going anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I had a nice little run where I didn't go to church, and then
Mhm.
I just started going to church again, like literally like 10 years later. Like it was a very long time away from church, and then I remember I just heard a sermon, and I know it's not from a popular pastor. He's not
Mhm.
very liked. It was Clifton Dollar. He came to a church that my son's mother used to go to, or whatever. I used to go with them from time to time. And it was
Mhm.
just one of those sermons where he gave it and it just touched me. And I was like, you know what? I need to go back. I need to be back where I belong, type of situation. And that's when, I started following again.
That's awesome. And sometimes, not to get super religious, but you never know where it can come from, right? And a lot of times
Right.
people will say, "Oh man, I don't want to hear this preacher. I don't want to hear that preacher." And I remember it was a preacher here who had got caught having a baby by one of the members. And one of my
All right.
friends, she was like, I don't want to be I don't want to go no more, and this, that, and the other. And I said, well, he's still a man, he's flawed. That's all, man. I said, if you enjoying something and you getting something from the word, don't let that stop you. And she said it helped
Right.
her, and she kept going because of that.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Not every man is perfect. You know what I mean? Not every, but even though I feel like when it comes to like religion, right, or
Mhm.
faith, I don't like the word religion because to me, I feel like religion divide people, right? So I feel
Yeah.
like with the faith that we have, when it touches you and it is your time, you feel different. You see things different. You understand things differently. You know what I mean? And it's just in your time if you allow it to come into your heart.
Hmm.
And that's why it happened that night. I guess it's just like it just hit me out of nowhere. I actually was like, all right, I understand this. Like this is my time.
Yeah.
I want to take a quick minute to talk about mental health. As you all know, we are living in unprecedented times, whether it's the racial pandemic or the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, I want to introduce you to Hope Again Counseling Services, where transformation begins. Hope Again provides help for children, adolescents, adults, family, and couples. So give them a call at 410-698-8442 or visit them on the web at yourhopeagain.com to book your appointment. If you are willing to believe, you will begin to achieve, and ultimately, Hope Again Counseling Services can help you receive all that is meant for you.
You said you was party promoting, and I was saying, I know that's how you said you got in the Hot 97. I was wondering real quick, how did you get into
Yeah.
party promoting?
So, again, I used to go to a lot of parties, and then after a while, I realized that I did want to get into radio. So I was very cool. One of the local DJs here, who's very known across the country. I don't know if you heard of him, DJ Wala. Um,
Mm-mm.
Heavy
But
hitters
also
and
not in the
then
hip
High
hop.
97.
Okay.
Right, right. But yeah, so he DJs. He's basically the king of Jersey when it comes to the DJs. And then he was getting put on to the Heavy Hitters. I don't know if you heard of the Heavy Hitters. It's a DJ crew. It
Okay.
originated in New York by DJ Enough. So when he was getting put on, I happened to be there that night at the party, and I've been talking to him and his manager for a few weeks, Phantom, about joining their team, which is very rare because they didn't really like have anybody else with them, which is them two. And people have been trying to work with them for the longest because they're very popular. Um, and after that night, for whatever reason, his manager took a liking to me. He was like, "Yeah, we're gonna put you on." Long story short, I did some party promoting with them a few times and learning the ropes. And while I saw, I was very committed to the situation, and he liked me. He liked me a lot, and we became very good friends. And since he worked at High 97, I told him like, I'm trying to apply for the street team.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, all right, I'm gonna put a good. I know the girl that's running the street team. I'm gonna put a good word in for you. So it's like basically a shoe, and I'm about to be on the street team for High 97. Bet, right? I go to the interview for the street team. There's like 12 of us in the room, and they're doing their usual interviews or whatever. And I'm like, pretty confident because, I got the heads up, like, basically I'll be fine because, whatever. In the middle of the group interview, Danisha, shout out to Danisha. That's one of my, like, I'm really cool with her now. Danisha Benjamin walks in it was like, we're changing this interview, and like on some like making a band type shit. Like she just walked in, and she's the girl's boss, so they all have to listen to her. And she's like, we're changing this interview, and they went around the table. It's like, we're just gonna pick 5 off the top right now, and I didn't make that cut.
Wow.
And it
So
was,
she just changed it
and
out
it
of
was
nowhere.
she just came in and changed the entire game, and and I left, and I told Walla, I'm like, yo, my interview's done. It's like, damn, that fast? Like, what happened? And I told him what happened. He's like, damn, Danisha did that. Like, all right, come hang out with me on the, because that was on the corporate side of the building. So he's like, come out, hang out with me by the studio side or whatever. So I go by the studio side, and I remember a couple of weeks before, DJ Enough was asking for somebody to work with, like kind of like a personal assistant / somebody to run his website, whatever. And I had tweeted him back, but never got a response. Um, and I've seen him a couple of times. So again, he come to Jersey, he chained Voila and all that stuff. So when he's there, he's like, oh, what, like, I'm like, what's good, E? He's like, oh, Blue, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, what you doing here? I'm like, oh, I came for an interview for the street team, but I didn't get chosen. So he's like, oh, so you're looking for a job? I'm like, yeah. He's like, so why don't you blog for me? I'd never blogged a day in my life. I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, yeah, sure. Then he's like, all right, bro, I'm gonna introduce you to my boy Quiz. Quiz running the website right now. I'm like, all right, cool. I met Quiz. Quiz told me basically what blogging was. And honestly, Quiz is a dope dude. Like this, I'm very grateful for everything he teaches me. Shout out to Quiz for that. And I was like blogging for a very long, like a couple of weeks, and it was just me. So I'll come to the station every day as an intern. Like, I'm not getting paid for this, right? Going every day just to blog. I'm new to this. I'm blogging, and then after a while, I just start asking questions like, "So, what's the end game?" Like, that's always me. Like, I like to plan. I like to know where I'm going. No, that's just how I am. So I'm like, okay, so what's the end game? So he tells me what the idea is, but I'm like, so it can't just be me blogging, right?
Right.
Enough goes, all right, so she's like, all right, so find some bloggers. I'm like, wait, what? Me? He's like, yeah, find some bloggers. I'm like, all right. So at this point, I'm running his website. I'm running his social media as well. So I put out a post, interviewed. Long story short, because this is a very long story. Long story short, I end up running the website, and I had like control of like at least 12 to 15 bloggers at a time. Work with the sponsorships. I ran that website for 2.5 years. Got it some of its biggest numbers. Got it some of the biggest YouTube views. The works, like, and now it's just me learning on the fly.
Now you getting paid? Yeah.
At one point, yeah, Enough started paying me out of pocket.
Okay.
Every month, and then the way that since the website was doing so well, and it was just a time when blogging was doing good, the station paid attention and realized what was happening with the website, and basically bought in to the website with a partnership with Enough, and then they started picking up a tab on paying me for running the website. So eventually, I was put on as well. Yeah.
Now, how confident was you in your writing when you found out like what blogging was?
But it was basically the way I was taught, right? I don't know if it's the ideal way to be a writer, but I basically was taught like, yeah, you read it and you just write a synopsis and send the link where you got the information from. Source your info. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like where I had to write in debt, like biographies or anything like that. It was just cite it, like, and go from there. So I did that for a while, put some videos up when new music came out, new music from posted the SoundCloud link, did a quick shout out to whoever needed a shout out, and then boom. That's what it basically was. I wasn't like writing long pieces or anything like that. I didn't do that until like later when I started writing about like wrestling and stuff.
Right. So now you become essentially the boss, right? Of all the
basically,
bloggers.
I'm literally Enough's like right hand man when it comes to his blog. Yeah.
So and then
honestly, his day to day as well.
You still doing that or?
No. I after a while, I just like waffled for. Just took a lot of things I learned from there and just hustled for a very long time. To be honest with you, until I got the shoot job that I got now.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What was that again? It's like I couldn't even hear you. I gotta edit.
I said And I said, "Oh no, I don't do that anymore, man. I just took honestly. I left Hot 97 after the 2.5 years. I took a lot of things that I learned and just basically hustled for a few more years, and then until I got the shoe job that I got now.
Now, what was the most you what was your highlight at Hot 97?
My personal highlight or my like
Yeah, what
career
was your personal
highlight?
your personal highlight and then like your career highlight?
I think my personal highlight. There's so many because I met so many of my favorites through that and created so many relationships because of it. Um, but one thing I did was like like, so here's the thing I was talking about, like when I work, I don't know how you are, but whenever I'm working something, I have tunnel vision, right? I
Mm-hmm.
don't see my surroundings, I just see my objective. One time enough was DJing J. Cole's listening event. Well, not even listening part, Dollar in the Dream concert. And he did the first show. And I enjoyed it. I met J. Cole, one of my favorite rappers of all time. Like he's in my top five. I'm like I met him, enjoyed that, and then it's time for the second show because in New York they do back to back shows or whatever, and it's they playing music in the background, crowds coming in, they're like, yo, go get enough. I'm like, I bet. I run upstairs, go get enough. The floor is like packed with people. I don't know why. There's a whole lot of people in the dressing room. I see a lot of security. I'm like, I don't know why the security's here, but I have an objective. I push by security. Like I don't like. It's yeah. I got television. Got to enough. Like you're enough. They need you on stage. I bet. So we leave the dressing room area, and as we're walking down the steps, enough so just happens to go. Did you see who I was talking to? I'm like, no. He was like, that was Jay-Z. I'm like, what? And mind you, Jay-Z's like on top of my list. Like this is one of my idols. Like somebody I look up
Likewise.
to. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, that was Jay-Z. You ain't see that? I'm like, no. Like, so literally I'm like 5 feet away, like less than 5 feet, like 2 feet away from Jay, and I don't realize it.
Wow.
Because I didn't know he was in the building because the first show he was in there. Apparently he came to the second show. So I felt kind of bad. I was mad, like, yo, like that's my idol, and I didn't get a chance to say hi or nothing. And then he comes down at the end of the show, at the end of the night when everybody's leaving. He comes downstairs and asks for the bathroom. So I was able to point him to the bathroom. And to me, that was like a dope moment. Like I actually got a chance to talk to Jay a little bit, like not in depth, but how often you get to meet one of the people that you really adore, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the second thing is probably again going to a J. Cole listening event, and this is when he came out with Born Sinner, and it was like a movie theater thing, and I was sitting behind J. Cole, and I found out that I was having a son, like I was having a kid. Now that was like one of my best moments. Like,
Wow.
yeah, I'll never forget that. Like finding out then and there, like while listening to that album, I'll never forget that.
And you with J. Cole at the same time, right?
Right, like I'm sitting right behind him because he did it in the movie theater over here in New York.
Yeah.
So we're in a movie theater with like beat headphones on. So you like a private listening event. That everybody's seated in seats. I'm sitting right behind a man, and I got a text message from my son's mother saying that she's pregnant and we're having a kid. That was like a dope moment to me.
Wow. Now, did you did you react to it? Did you tell him or anybody in that room that day?
No, because I actually just walked out and called her like, what? And then she told me again. So I go back into the listening event, and at the end of the night, me, Enough, and I forgot who's the other person I was. I think it was Scotty Beam. Shout out to Scotty Beam. I think we went out to Dallas BBQs, and I told them at that dinner, like, I just found I'm having a kid on the way, and that was it.
No, that was your first, right?
Yeah, my first one. Yeah.
Now, did you wish you kind of waited till like y'all was in the same place, or was you okay with that way?
I was fine with that, okay, because again, she was probably in shock and she just needed to tell somebody. We was younger too, and her parents are strict, and it was just probably something that she needed to release, and I was there.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Like,
yeah, just to like hear these stories, and you being, that close to Jay-Z. What's your favorite Jay-Z song of all time?
Song Cry.
Song Cry?
I don't know why. Song Cry.
So it's funny you say that. I remember when it came out, my older god brother, shout out to Sammy, he was sitting there like, so we would go on Sundays sometimes. So Sammy and my I have 3 god brothers, and well, like,
Right.
so they me and the youngest one like kind of grew up together. He was always the one I was playing the wrestling video games with, watching wrestling shows and stuff. So we're 3 years apart, but he's 7 years younger than, was 6.5 years younger than one brother and 11.5 years younger than the other. So, me, I was kind of like, it was easier, being that somebody close to his age to come over. And Sammy being the oldest, he was probably, if I was 15, he was like 27, 28.
Right.
And so I remember he was like breaking down the song. So he was like, man, y'all gotta get with this, man. Like, he would tell us like, yeah, man, you know how older, cousins and stuff be. You take a girl out, man. You don't put on no rap music, man. You got to put on the Isley Brothers and stuff like that. But like, he was breaking down song crop for us. And so you saying that was like your favorite song brought up that memory. What's your favorite album?
Right. Or reasonable. All right, this pick one. So the blueprint, because clearly I remember the 9/11 situation. The Black Album, because that's like probably the first album I officially bought myself. I ran like after high school, I ran downtown, copped the album, listened to it all the way to the next day, somehow lost the CD and copped the album again that same day. And the Reasonable Doubt, of course, because Reasonable Doubt is just like a classic. It was slept on when it came out. I was too young to know what it was. But the first song I remember hearing from Jay while I was in karate school was 8-0 with Foxy Brown. So
oh man. Yeah, that Black Album, that was my senior year of high school. And I'll never forget going and so this is what the young people won't understand. Before they were streaming, there was buying a CD and then maybe your friend having, a pack of blanks and you duplicating the CD. So like my homeboy bought the CD and I was like, all right, you buy the CD and I'm gonna buy the blanks. And so I ended up buying the blanks and, made a copy of it right there. And, we were talking about Xbox earlier. There was a certain, I think it was called the Door brand, right? If you had the Dora brand CDs, those would work on the Xbox. Because I don't know if you remember, most of the time, they wouldn't play. Yeah, you would know your music.
Not only that, you used to be able to rip the music into your Xbox as well and listen to the music while you was playing the games.
Yep, exactly. Which you could do that now, but it's not as special. And so that's what everyone I bought, I had to be that version so that I could put it on there. But yeah, man. That Black Album, man, was that a classic? I remember washing my dad's van to that, like finish it because I wanted to drive him. He was like, all right, well, you want to drive, you got to learn how to clean the car. So he came home one day and he said, I must get ready to die. My mother's like, what are you talking about? Brian to clean the van. And I just remember putting the Black Album on and just jamming out. So
get it out, yo.
Yeah, so you never got another chance to meet him?
I mean, he came to do an interview with Angie one time, but like at the station, it's very frowned upon to bother the artists, right?
Yeah.
So they told you not to take no pictures, put your phone away. Jay's coming upstairs, he just wants his privacy. And all right, cool, you understand. He came upstairs, said what up to everybody, went inside the studio. But me, I'm like, yo, this is like my idol. I gotta get one quick picture. Like it's somewhere. And as he's leaving the studio, it's just a blur, but I got it.
Oh man.
I got it. Like I act like I was texting, and it's just like, you know what? I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna risk it for this. Like he took a quick flick, and it's a blur of him going around the corner.
Man. But you didn't get the quote unquote selfie though.
Nah.
Man, let me tell you, this is that was a rule at ESPN as well. You're not supposed to bother artists, whatever. And so the first time, so within my first week, I see Drake there, right? And it was like, okay, that's cool, that's Drake or whatever, right? And I remember people going crazy and whatnot. And some people said, hey, there's and somebody was like, Degrassi, and he looked at him weird, but I was like following the rules. Right. And then the next year, my second, no, tied for third favorite wrestler. No, my third favorite wrestler of all time comes there, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, right? And I'm like, wow, The Rock is
Oh,
here.
you gotta
So
risk it.
by this time, I know that people get pictures and stuff. So I'm texting people,
Right.
hey, The Rock is coming. Can I meet him? Can y'all, how do I meet him? And my one boy was like, hey, I'm not his talent producer. So, but if there's an opportunity, I'll let you know. And I said, all right, cool. Then somebody else was like, hey, he'll be at Sports Center. But then my friend Jasmine, shout out to Jasmine Watkins for her out there. She goes there. She was like finding him. She's like, I'm gonna find him before the day is over. So I go home because we had a softball game that day, and I'm like, I probably should stay, just stay with Jasmine, right? I go home, and what do I
Right.
see on Facebook? No, on Instagram. Boom, she got a picture with The Rock. Then I see multiple people, they got pictures with The Rock, and everybody's like, yeah, man, he was so cool. And my friend Maya, shout out to Maya Jones, awesome writer for the Undefeated. She was like upset because she was out of town. And she was like, I know how much you would have wanted
Wow.
that picture. She said, if I was in town, I would have got a chance to interview him, and I'd have had brought you with me to the interview. So I was there. I was extremely disappointed.
Damn.
Then the next time,
Yeah.
the Double H that nobody likes except me still came, and he came, and somebody said, yeah, he's gonna be on campus, and I went there, but by the time I got there, him and Jimmy Hart was leaving. I was like, God dang it! And then unfortunately, 2 months later, all hell broke loose with him. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
so
I definitely I got to meet quite a few artists. I got a chance to work with a lot of them. Got
mhm.
some horror stories, got some dope stories. I really missed that world. I ain't gonna hold you. I love the entertainment world because you get to be around people that like you know you don't get to see all the time, right? And
Mhm.
it's a different atmosphere in a sense, and it's just fun to be around. And I love working with these people. It's dope.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. I learned that working at ESPN, working with people, especially like when the celebrities would come in, because like to them ESPN was a big candy store, right? And I can imagine like Hot
Right.
97. Once you make it, like that's like the epitome, right? Because no matter where you are in the country, you heard of Hot
Yeah. Yeah.
97. I remember when they used to come out with the
Yeah.
mixtapes, and they would come. People would
Yeah.
sell the bootleg, not the bootleg, but well, the bootleggers would sell the mixtapes. They would come to Baltimore, and that was one of the ones you would look forward to because you knew it was going to have some good stuff on there.
Definitely. And it was just fun being able to produce. I produced a few interviews,
Mm-hmm.
a few segments, and it's just a great feeling. Like the whole situation when Kanye was saying that he got Sway his first TV, like I helped with that interview. Like you know what I mean? Like I have nuggets like that sitting around in my hard drive somewhere. I got never before seen interviews and outtakes, and it's just dope. Like I just love them.
Man, so how often do you like go back and like reminisce and that stuff?
A lot. Like I have a few of those things. Like since I think about doing a series,
Mm-hmm.
with that kind of stuff on my IGTV, and there's a lot of things that I did on my own that I never put out. You know what I'm saying? Like there's interviews I've done that people don't probably know I did. Like it's just things like that. And it's just sometimes it's dope to put on. Let my wife see it. I'm gonna let my kids see it
Mm-hmm.
when they
You
get
got
older. And
Patreon
it's just
material.
dope to have. Huh?
That's Patreon material right there.
Yeah, like I do. I have a lot of stuff in it. Like
Are you planning a huge celebration and perhaps you need some balloons to make your event look nice? Well, I have the perfect place for you, and that's Symphony of Balloons. Symphony of Balloons will do all events including baby showers, weddings, birthday parties, or that special anniversary. Contact them today at 410-802-1531 or email them at symphonyofballoons@gmail.com and tell them Brian H. Waters sent you.
let me tell you how much tunnel vision I have when I work. So I was working at Angie's Barbecue one time, and it was just like this big barbecue at this big restaurant, and I was taking pictures for DJ Enough. This was like my first year working there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see a group of women taking pictures together. I'm like, oh, that'd be a dope picture. Let me walk over. Like, hey, can I take a picture real quick? They're like, sure. Which publication are you with? I'm like, I'm with DJ Enough. They're like, oh, okay, enough. That's cool. So I take the picture, and then I walk off, and they're like, wait, can we see the picture? I'm like, yeah, sure. I I go back to the picture to show them the picture. Why is it Gabrielle Union, Sanaya Lathan, and it's one more person? But like Sanaa Lathan is one of my I used to be my wife. Like I used to call her my wife all the time. I had so much tunnel vision. I didn't realize I took a picture of these women and their friends until like I'm showing the picture and they're over my shoulder at this point. And that's why I'm looking at the picture with them and my mouth just dropped open like I look to my left is Gabrielle Union. Look to my right, it's Sanaa Lathan. And I'm like,
how do you have that much tunnel vision, bro? Like I heard of tunnel vision, but god dang.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad, man. When I'm working, it's really bad. Like I looked at it, I was like, I have it on my phone. I gotta print it out, man. I found it recently because I was telling the story to my wife, and I found the picture so I could show it to her. I gotta print that one out. Like it was just like I froze. They're like, "Oh, this is a good picture, right?" Yeah. They're talking to each other. And I'm like, okay, and I just like ran off like a little kid. Just ran off like a little kid. Like I can't believe what happened.
That is, man. Yeah. You gotta take the glasses off sometimes. Take the tunnel blinders. But see, I mean, that just goes to show, the dedication of you being a hard worker, because you're not like, you're not doing it for clout, right? It's simply because you want to get the job done and you want to, put out a good product. So it's like you're not even focusing on what you're doing. It's just like, okay, cool. This is, what I'm doing. Boom, let me get the job done and I'll, bask in the glory, no pun intended, later.
Right. Yeah, that's basically what it was. Like I like most of these events I just, tune out, like even the artists, I say, what up, how you doing? I produce the interview, whatever that needs to be done, and then I'll be like, all right. And then I'll be like, okay, I'm a fan, stage info, whatever the case may be after the fact.
Yeah.
Work gotta get done first.
So what was your outside of Jay-Z and J. Cole and did you have any other like mark out moments and with the ladies?
I never marked out. The only person I marked out was Jay-Z.
Okay.
J. Cole, like I was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? Wale is also in my top 5. I've met Wale a few times. I'm very close with his brother now, and it's just like the only person I probably would mark out for is Jay-Z in life. Like I probably would mark out for Jay-Z, Triple H, and Wyclef. That's the only people. Triple anybody H? Else, I'm like, all right, cool.
You mark out
I'm a very big. I'm a Triple H guy, man.
Man.
Growing up, watching the Attitude Era and all that, I was Triple H. Like my best friend, God rest his soul, he was always HBK, and I was always Triple H. So it's always been that dynamic. So yeah, so I always been Triple H. I've always been a Triple H guy.
Nah, that's cool. You either find people who can't stand him or people who love him. Especially like Triple H. Oh, what's that?
Yeah,
2003 to 2005. Oh my gosh. like my shout out to Dwayne, the real Dwayne Allen. He would always say like, man, you know why Triple H ain't bothered by Roman Reigns? Because he was the first Roman Reigns. This is back when WWE was trying to push Roman and Roman wouldn't, like, nobody, the internet didn't want to accept him. He would always say like, that was Triple H. So no, but that's dope. But the mixed tag show, man. When did you enjoy?
Yeah, shout out to Jenna.
Yeah, shout out to Jenna. Y'all like one of my favorite shows to listen to. Because I know y'all going, keep it straight. And sometimes even when like y'all disagree with things that we see things from a different point of view. It's always funny because we can either like tweet or text about it and have respectful conversations.
Right.
But
exactly, respectful.
But like
that's a key word.
Yeah, like y'all invited me and Dwayne on there. It was a good time, especially when you got mad that you had to call it WrestleMania Backlash. But we had so much fun just discussing that. But to the show, how did you and Jenna meet?
So I always like I said, I always try to think of ways to like do certain things. I always have ideas. I have ideas to this day. There's a lot of things I have planned that I haven't even touched yet that I'm gonna eventually do. And it's just like with this, I always knew that I wanted to do a podcast about wrestling because wrestling was like my first love.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, all right, I bet. I'm looking at all the podcasts, and it's like rare that you see women do it as well. So I'm like, I bet that's a dope idea that it could be a man and a woman podcast. And it was around the time when the mixed match challenge was happening. So then I'm like, that could work as well. So eventually I'm like trying to find somebody to do it with, can't find nobody to do it. I'm a big Sasha Banks fan. So Sasha put up some things on her Insta story. I'm scrolling through and I happen to see a picture of Jenna. And I look at the background, and the background is New York. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I'm in Jersey. This clearly is New York. Maybe me and her can match up. So boom, I slide in her DMs as a friend. This is like around the Royal Rumble situation. And then, we talk and she's like, again, I'm a guy that's reaching out to her. She's like kind of like iffy, like, I don't know what your intentions are, blah, blah, blah. So I'm picking her brain, like, what do you like wrestling wise? What you like sports wise? Try to make sure that she knows her shit. Excuse
Mm-hmm.
my mouth.
You good?
Knows her stuff. So like picking her brain, whatever the case may be, and eventually we like, all right, let's meet up and have a conversation. And then we had this like, we met up at a Buffalo Wild Wings. That was the first time I met her, and I told her the idea I had, and then we talked about who do we credit for the Attitude era. She credits Stone Cold and The Rock. I credit DX, and that became a discussion. And we were just sitting there and Buffalo Wild Wings having a long conversation, like, and then after all, we just looked at each other like, all right, this could work. And then we came up with the idea, like, how we gonna name this? I came up with the Mixed Tag Show with Jenna and Blue. She wanted to put it as Blue and Jenna since it was my idea. I was like, nah, it sounds better with Jenna and Blue. So like, it's fine. Like, so and that's how it came about.
Man, so one of the things I want, it's a couple of things there. As a good buddy Conrad says, I'm saying like we actually friends, but Conrad said a lot to unpack here. But no, one of the things that like with this show is, a lot of college students that listen to it and people who try to figure out things. And right there, you talked about sliding in the DMs as a friend, and how, for those who do not know, I think that's a opportunity to share a life lesson. How did you, take that approach without, coming off as creepy? Because, in this day and age, it's always somebody with different intentions. You know what I mean? And y'all, I thought y'all knew each other like growing up together because y'all have such a dynamic that's like a brother and a sister that is so fun to watch and listen to. So I was wondering if you could school
it took a lot to hammer out. It took a lot of hammer out to get that chemistry. It took a lot of scrapping and fighting to get that behind the scenes to get that chemistry. But it was added to the process. When I slid in her DMs, I just found the common interest. Like she posted something about I believe it was the Golden State Warriors, and I just kind of like made a joke about that, and then we kept it. And she kind of responded from there. And I just kept it light. You know what I'm saying? I didn't make it like creepy or, call her gorgeous or, you know what I'm saying? Or use any demeaning words towards her. I just kept it professional, talking to her like it was a friend. Yeah. And eventually, she responded back and she realized that wasn't my intentions. So.
Yeah, that's cool. Now you said you credit DX for the Attitude Era?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I said. I always say that it was my argument is if it wasn't for Triple H and Shawn convincing Vince to allow everybody to be themselves, it wouldn't be where it's at right now. You know what I'm saying? Like there was like, all right, we can't do this cookie cutter, character situation no more. We have to let these everybody be themselves, and I feel like that's what helped the Attitude Era.
No, it's so funny because I think this is the first time we actually 100% agreed on something. because I agree with you with everything. Like, it starts there, right? I mean, you go to
right,
the what was that, the thing with USA, right, when they had that press conference, and it was like DX was at the forefront of a lot of stuff. Shout out to Dwayne because we redid that. He wanted, that was something. He's like, hey man, I got this idea, And Dwayne is a big, we both like both NWO and DX fans. Me, I'm slightly
Right.
NWO, and then DX, but I like both of them. But shout out to y'all. Now, when did you like? You said it took a lot of like hammering out and getting the chemistry together, but like, how was you able to like utilize everything that you had learned from Hot 97 and apply it to the mixed tag show?
From editing the videos, from networking, from knowing how things should be. I applied a lot of that. Like, I just being around different people and knowing how the industry works, knowing how to read the audience, those different factors alone, I brought into try to bring into the show. Just like you say, like structuring wise, like knowing how long, like not to over talk, and like try to teach that to Jenna. Like, all right, get your point across as soon as possible because you don't want to go on a 4-minute dialogue without the other person getting a say. You know what I'm saying? Like just the balance of the conversation. All of that just played a part, and that's just me from watching Angie Martinez, who's one of the greatest to ever interview anybody. Like just watching enough in the booth controlling the mic, just watching while I control the crowd, DJ Shaw control the crowd. It's just like everything I've learned from everything all the things I've been doing. I try to string it together and just try to use it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that you can tell. Because let's be real, right? There's a gazillion wrestling podcasts out here, but maybe 10% of them are done by people who are actually trained, whether it's in school or on the job or at a high level. And you can tell like when you watch your show, the way it looks, right? The way the graphics look, the way the intro looks, the way that it's structured. And that's one of the things that I wanted to give you your props on. And it's the reason why I'm a listener. I try to listen to I like, I meet somebody, I'll try to listen to this show, like, okay. Because one of the things like with my next upcoming opportunity, which people should, by the time this airs, they should see my social media. But one of the things that I said in the interview was I like listening to my friends' shows because a lot of times I don't get a chance to pick up the phone and call them and say, hey man, what'd you think about the game? So then there's social media and I get like a tweet or a post here or there. But if somebody want to write a book about it on a Facebook post, I don't want to read the whole book. But if I listen to their shows, I can, get that. I can listen to y'all's show to figure out, okay, what did they think about wrestling this week? What didn't Blue like, or what did Blue like, So that's the cool thing about, having friends that podcast.
Yeah, definitely. It's just like you say, it builds a new community. And like Jenna said this all the time. When we did this, we didn't know that so many people like us liked wrestling. You know what I mean? Like when you look into the crowd, you don't really see people that look like us in the crowd. So you never knew that there's this whole community out there that you can connect with.
Did you go to a lot of the indie shows?
No, I didn't go into indie shows until I started doing the podcast, I believe.
Okay.
Like I've heard of certain situations. You know what I'm saying? Like I forgot who said this, but CM Punk brought Ring of Honor to my attention. So I went to a Ring of Honor show by myself on the fly one time, and when it was in Philly, and that was just because of just to see the curiosity, and that's why I decided that I didn't like Punishment Martinez. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so like that whole world was like it's still taboo to me a little, not taboo, but it's something I'm not used to, and I want to get used to, and I want to learn more of, and that's why I got certain things that I'm like I said, I always have things on my mind to do, and that's one of the things to do is expand more into the indie world, and like not only for myself but to educate others on indie stars that I feel like that deserves more of a spotlight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where we kind of cut our teeth in the indies with the wrestling realm, just going to shows. Shout out to a good friend Brandon Guy, who would get us into different shows. And we learned, and that's where honestly I saw like quite a few Black people. And I realized that I was like, okay, there's a lot of Black people that are in the wrestling. and especially like the Ring of Honor shows that was here in Baltimore. And these are during the days of like Kevin Owens, well, Kevin Steen and Adam Cole. Like Adam Cole was still Ring of Honor TV champion, and Kevin Owens was getting ready to chase for Davey Richards for the title. Him and Cornette was having their beef. So this is like 2012, right? And
Right.
that's where we kind of saw that other dynamic. But I do think now we're starting to see more of people that look like us not be so ashamed of the wrestling fandom. You know what I mean? Did you have any of those
Right.
issues growing up? Like people, kind of getting shamed for loving wrestling?
Of course. I mean, besides me and my best friend, like
Mm-hmm.
honestly, me and my best friend, we used to be on my porch and like wrestling imaginary people. You know what I'm saying? Like we had full blown storylines going in my
Uh-huh.
backyard and on my front porch. You know what I mean? And people used to walk by, or, our friends walk by, crack jokes or whatever. And we took it like, all right, it's all right. We still like it though. Like, it was no big deal to us. You can crack all the jokes you want. Um, but yeah, so it was very little that we found that had the same interests as us. So when we found it, it was dope. And honestly, like I said, doing the podcast, learning that all these people around felt that way, it's just like that's dope. Like we have somebody look like us that actually likes this as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's it's definitely a lot of people, that sit up there and be like, man, I don't understand how you like that. It's stupid, especially when the
Yeah,
attitude era left and it wasn't quote unquote popular anymore.
yeah. Everybody took that same hiatus.
Yeah. But so before we get out of here, when you think back to like your whole career, because like I said, you've done a lot. Um, what would you say was the moment you broke through the glass ceiling and you realized like, I'm pretty good at what I do?
When I got the hot, and we did a campaign with, I think it was Pepsi or Budweiser. No, it was Boost Mobile. We did was one of our sponsors, and this is just one of the instances. It's just like they sent the email to the entire company at Hot 97. It was like, hey, thank you guys for doing Summer Jam with us, da da da. But we want to do a special shout out to Blue. Blue really handled himself throughout this entire weekend. Here's a nugget that I always hold on to that nobody really knows. I started Boost Mobile's Instagram.
Oh wow.
Like, yeah, I started Boost Mobile's Instagram because they were doing a thing with Enough DJ Enough for the week for the Summer Jam.
Mm-hmm.
We had Hot 97 Summer Jam is a big thing, a big concert, and Enough was supposed to be in charge of the Instagram. So to get it started, I had to launch the Instagram. They created the Instagram and everything like that, but that entire weekend, well, that entire day of the concert, I got most of their followers at the beginning of their start by posting everything from the concert. So that's like, and from them, that really was a big help. You know what I mean? So they was like, a special shout out to Blue, for working that way. And there was a couple of companies that does that, and a few labels as well. Like to this day, I could probably hit up a few people, and they're like, all right, we got you. Like, because I was always 100 with them. Like I never tried to snake nobody. Um, I always try to be up and up with everybody and make sure that everybody got their shine before I did.
Wow. Man, that's awesome. Like I said, keep doing you, man. Keep being a great person, which I know I don't have to tell you that. But I definitely
Right.
appreciate you, all your support of the wrestling realm and breaking through glass ceilings and me just as a human being. For those the blues, one of the people just say, hey man, just checking on you, see how you doing. So, definitely appreciate all that, and so thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule too, because I know how it is as a family man. So I
Nah.
definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, trust me. I'm about to get ready to go to bed now. I wake up like at 5:45 in the morning to get these kids ready before I go to work. But I definitely thank you for having me on. Like, I always see you do these. I'm like, I want to be one. I really want to do one of these. Like, just something outside of wrestling. I always like doing things like that's different or outside of wrestling and so on and so forth, because we have so many dimensions, and and I like the way that you put a spotlight on how people grind and get to where they need to get to, because sometimes people don't know the story, and sometimes they're missing out on that story. So thank you for
Yeah,
having me on the show as well.
no problem, man. I think what's been really cool about this show is the whole idea was to really just share my network with the world, right? And also like really like you said, everybody has a story, but it's also really just to kind of catch up with people too and have conversations. So like when I'm a part of the National Association of Black Journalists, and we go to the conventions, catching up with people, and then afterwards, hey, you want to come on the podcast, and then we talk, and it's like, wow, it's different from just texting back and forth, and because of this, I've been able to build relationships with people, and then there's also like, sometimes I'll have people say, hey, can you interview my client? They want to get them, push something that they're working on, and that's cool too, So that's been
Right.
like something that's fun, but I really love like talking to my friends and, showing that, giving them their flowers, but also, letting people who trying to figure things out, hear their stories so they can see how they did it. But let the people know where they can find you if you want to be found.
You can follow me at Bloom at Your Grind, spelled how it sound, on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow the Mixed Tag Show as well on Instagram and Twitter. I think that's about it. You can follow my Twitch. I haven't been on Twitch very often. You can follow the Mixed Tag Show Twitch as well. I think that's about it right now. I'm really been on Twitter a lot more than I usually am. So you can find me on there, and hopefully, you say something nice, and I follow you back.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Blue Magic Grind. Make sure y'all give him a follow. Make sure y'all check out all his work. He's a walking cheat code. Let's just call it for what it is. He's a walking cheat code. But Blue, I definitely appreciate you, brother.
Thank you for having me, man.
No problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. After this episode, something cool happened. Blue and I have always talked about the Black professional wrestler and how sometimes a lot of times get the short end of a stick, but how we can support them. And then immediately after, history was made as one Black man in Big E defeated another Black man, Bobby Lashley, to win the WWE Championship. And the reason why it's history, because it's never happened where we've had consecutive Black WWE champions. So I thought that was cool and fitting for this to happen as soon as Blue and I finish recording this podcast. But ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for this week's episode. Make sure you subscribe, share this with your friends, tell them about it. Make sure you follow me at Brian H. Waters on all social media platforms and keep up, and make sure you hit a 5-star rating. Till the next time, folks, I'm Brian.